What's up, Copy Squad? It's your boy Kyle Milligan coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland. And today I want to speak to those of you who are just new starting out at copy, or think you need to improve your copy, or think you just suck at copy. If you think you just suck at copy, generally here's why I bring this up. So I was recently tagged in a post where someone was like, I suck at copy and I want to get better. And then someone said, hey, you should check out Kyle's YouTube. He's got a bunch of cool information on copywriting. And I was like, and then I scrolled down and I just saw people giving, again, what I think is basically terrible advice. Basically these laundry lists of books to read. Read this book, read that book, read this book. And then whenever you do this book, read this book too. And I remember before I started copywriting, and I grossed $7.1 million last year from copywriting sales. So, and that was in a single year, and I started writing copy first at Agora Financial October of 2017. So it's a pretty good turnaround. And what I didn't do was read a bunch of copywriting books. And I think that's kind of like almost harmful advice, is when you get bogged down in this weird laundry list of like must reads, like you've got to read the Ultimate Sales Letter, and then the Boron Letters, and then Joe Sugarman's book, and then this and that, and this and that. I actually read like 2 copywriting books before I started writing copy. Instead, I read more books about persuasion, marketing, and sales. And that's kind of like, again, supplemental. There's only one thing that really helped me write good copy, and that one thing was reading good copy. Not one person suggested that you should read this sales letter to this guy. Not one person said, hey, here's a really high-performing sales letter. Look at what they did and look for these elements. So everything else is just bad advice, in my opinion. Like, until you sit down with actual copy and learn the language of copywriting, you're not going to learn how to write good copy. You can read theory all damn day. It's basically a waste of time. I can read how to build a business books until my eyes bleed. But until I go out and write or start a business, I don't know nothing. Here's what I suggest instead. You read, you find, you get a hold of a working piece of copy in the niche, selling the things that you want to sell or something similar. You read it, and then you dissect it. Now here's the issue. So copywriting is a foreign professional language. The subtext is the language, okay? So it's written in plain, simple English. But the subtext communicated beneath the words always generally falls within 4 big force selling emotions. If copy is written correctly and effectively, it's usually either transmitting that this is either new, it's easy, it's safe and credible, or it's big, or it's going to give you big results. Okay, these are the big force selling emotions, and generally all these simple lines of copy are subtly communicating those messages underneath. So that's when people who try to like zombify a copywriting promo, where they just like take a line from this promo and take a line from that promo and do this and do that, that's why it comes out all screwed up, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense, because they don't understand that those words don't really matter. The words on the page don't matter. What matters is the subtext communicated beneath those words. That's the language of copywriting. It's not English, Spanish, German, etc., etc. The language of copywriting is communicated in the subtext. And so, I don't recommend you go out and pick out all these books. I say you can probably read one. You could probably read Adweek Copywriter's Handbook, which is a pretty thick book by Joe Sugarman, and basically be set. The rest of it would be like influence, persuasion, and conformity, like psychology stuff. You need to get into some psychology stuff. It's probably way more effective, or sales stuff. Like Zig Ziglar has this itty bitty book. I think it's like Selling 101. Huge value in there. It's like 100 pages. It's literally like this big of a book. And I mean, you can learn a buttload of stuff about sales and the selling techniques inside that book. But then from there on, all you really need to do is, here's how I do my whole process for writing a sales letter. I find 5 pieces of copy, 5 sales letters writing something similar or selling something similar to what I want to sell, and then I read all 5 of them, and then I throw away the 2 that kind of suck, or probably not a very good performer, or least performer, or most outside my world, and I dissect 3. And now this is where you're going to get caught up if you suck at copy or you're just beginning. I dissect 3, looking for the big 4 emotions: new, easy, safe, and big, and a couple of other very important key factors. But so yeah, then I'd reverse engineer 3 of those, and then I'd pick one. It's very similar to what I'm trying to sell. And I'd mimic that guy. And I'm creating a product right now where I show you how I wrote the sales letter for Take Their Money. It's at kylethewriter.com/book. Okay, so let's Take Their Money. Take Their Money is a book I wrote explaining the language of copywriting, explaining how to read copywriting, explaining how to translate copywriting into plain English so that you can binge on copywriting, like you binge Netflix. You binge on copywriting until the language is stuck in your brain and it just flows out of you naturally because it is a professional language. So don't read about copy, read copy. That's why I think all the other stuff is basically just bad advice, man. It's not actionable. What good is sitting there reading all these books about theory? It's the same thing as all these entrepreneurs and wannabe copywriters. They sit there and they read all this stuff and it's worthless. You need to write something that's actionable that can help you execute. And so basically you start out with your goal in mind. I'm going to write a sales letter, or I'm going to write an email. And then you find 5 things that you want to mimic. Throw away 2, reverse engineer 3, throw them away, and then mimic 1. Okay? At the end of the day, don't read about copy, read copy. That's how you get better at copy. I hope you guys enjoyed this, got some value out of it. That's all I've got for today. Peace out. Copy Squad.